Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Truth Podcast. First of all, I want to shout out some Life Water here one time. You already know, shout out to Life Water real quick. But, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to get on another friend of mine today and talk just about life and just get a little perspective of who this person is today. And today, my guest is my boy Nels. Bro, Nels, what's going on with
How
you,
you doing?
dog?
Thank you so much for having me, bro.
Bro, I'm so
Thank
glad
you.
that you could sacrifice your day with me. It's what is it? What is today? Is it Monday? Monday? Yeah.
Yeah.
Today is
Yeah,
Monday.
yeah,
Yeah.
today's
So
Monday.
sacrificing your Monday with me, bro. I appreciate that, and we'll just have a little quick talk, and then we'll get on our way. But thank you for coming on the podcast today. It really means a lot.
Mhm.
But before we get into the podcast today, Nelson, who is Nels today? Kind of how old are you? Who is Nels today? For the people that don't know.
I'm 22,
Yeah.
and Nuts today is like a lot different than last year. I feel like last year I cared a little too much about what people thought of me, about my music. I always wanted to make everything perfect. I'm like a perfectionist. So like if it doesn't sound right to me, like I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
If it sounds a little sketch, I'm not going. But now I just kind of like let that go because I felt like it was holding me back then, excelling me forward. And now I'm a lot more. I'm still conscious of my decisions, you know, but there's a lot more leeway than me thinking twice, especially with like music and decisions I make regarding people.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's good for, especially in like art or music, to kind of be conscious of what you're putting out in the world, because like you don't want a bad message to be spread about yourself. But I think that you also have to have this idea of that you don't care what people think, and I think that that's good that you've kind of overcome that in a sense too. What do you feel like was holding you back from that a year ago? You were just basically worried about like your friends and what they thought about your music, or what do you feel like it was about?
I don't necessarily worry too much about my friends because like they're my top supporters. Like my dogs always got me.
Absolutely.
And they're not like yes man, you know. Like I got a good group of guys that like I send my stuff to before I put it out, and they'll be like, if it's not going, they'll be like, nah, bro, that's not it.
That's not it.
That's
That
not
ain't
it,
it,
man.
G.
Don't
Yeah.
put that out. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And it just like shoots me to try harder
Yep.
and keep making something with diversity added to it, because I don't really want to make music that sounds the same. I don't want to have the same sound.
Yeah.
That's why like in my SoundCloud I put no genre in the bio thing, because I don't really want to have a genre. I want to be like an artist. I don't want to be labeled as a rapper, so I can speak to a big magnitude of people instead of just a certain audience.
I feel that. I think that that's good to actually diversify yourself in a lot of ways, because I mean, with music especially, I don't know what it is, like I think that rapping and like if you're sitting in a certain genre, you can only do so much in that genre, but if you don't put a label on it and you don't put a genre on it, I think that you're like the opportunities are endless for you, because you could really be like just a musical medium of any sort that you want to be. So I think that that's huge, especially like being in the music scene and everything, and like seeing all the big time like rappers or hip hop or whoever it is, like, you know, it's good to diversify yourself, and I think that that's good that you have that head on your shoulders, and that you know that that's what you kind of need to do as an artist. I think that that's dope. That's dope.
Exactly.
What do you feel like was your experience growing up? Because you went to Waukee, right?
Yeah, I went to
Graduated from
Waukee.
Waukee, and then did you go through that whole district like your whole entire life? How do you feel like that was for you? Like, how was the experience for that?
I feel like it was really cool. I met like a lot of good people, and I wish I could go back. I feel like there was a lot of decisions I made throughout high school that I would change. Like sometimes with the Twitter thing, a lot of people refer to me with being on Twitter and stuff because I would crack jokes, necessarily not thinking of how the other person felt.
Yeah.
I would just kind of do it, and it was for clout, you know.
Yeah.
Like, in that, I feel like a lot of people were about clout, you
Yeah.
know, in high school and stuff. But I feel like, what am I trying to say here? I feel like if I could go back, I would change and like focus on different things than that, because I felt that I wanted to be accepted. And, you know, at Waukee, there were a lot of people, like, it was cliquey.
Yeah.
Like, there were people who were, I don't really want to use this, I hate using this, but, like, the popular people kind of.
Yeah.
And then there were, like, the other people, and there were people in between. And I felt that as if I was kind of the floater. Like, I could still mingle with the people, you know, over here, and then mingle with the people over here.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to be over here.
Yeah.
So that's what made me feel like I had to
do that.
do that. And I really regret it.
I think that's like, I think that it's good though that you have put that out in the universe, you know, to kind of let that be known that like everybody makes mistakes, you know. I think that a lot of people that even I went to high school with and whatnot, like we've all fallen victim to that in one way or another, you know, because it's just like the things that are almost embedded into us, like growing up, and especially this social media generation. I think that like, you know, everybody's like trying to get these likes and all that stuff. Like I think that it's good that that's changed since high school for you and me as well. I think that I've fallen like for stuff like that in high school, you know. I think that it happens to the best of us, you know, and I think that, you know, if you're willing to throw that out there and just say like, you know, I'm sorry to whoever, and you know, you know that you messed up and you're willing to accept that, I think that makes you a better man for that, you know. I think that that's huge.
That.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel like the experience, like, do you feel like Waukee was not really diverse? Because I feel like that's kind of the norm that I hear about like the suburb schools is like it's not really diverse. Like I feel like there's only like a few, like it's a predominantly like white driven school population. Like, do you feel like you struggled with that, or do you feel like it was okay and like people didn't really show all that stuff for like?
I mean, yeah, I do agree with that. It was predominantly white people at the school. It was, like I remember looking at how many black people were at the school, and there was like less than 15, 20.
Wow. And you guys had like what was your graduating class, like 600-ish or something like that?
It was like I think it was like 446.
446. Damn, that's a lot.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Around those numbers.
Yeah. But still 15 kids in the entire population. That's
like
that's
something
nuts.
like that, yeah.
That's nuts, man.
It's nuts. I mean, the school would try. They put their efforts to, you know, include everybody, make it more diverse, not try to put it into that type of culture. But I feel like there weren't enough kids, or the kids who were there didn't really participate in what they were trying to put out.
I feel like that's hard too, because it's like, you know, you stick out in a crowd like that because I don't know, that's just, regardless, like if all the people are so nice to you, I feel like they just can't relate to you in every single spectrum, you know, because that's something that I struggle with, like, because I'm like half black and half white, so like when I'm hanging out with like my black friends, it's like I'm not black enough, but when I'm with my white friends, I'm not white enough, you know what I mean? So that's something that's kind of I don't know what it is. It's like it's a struggle for sure, but I feel like, you know, as I've gotten older, I've learned how to like get past that in a sense. But there are like certain instances where like I'm out with a couple of my friends and like, you know, I can just tell that like people are just a little bit acting a little bit different towards me, if that makes sense. So do you feel like that happened to you while you were in high school, or like in like if you ever like went to parties or anything like that? Do you feel like you struggled with anything like that?
I feel like with that's also maybe another reason why I did what I did, you know, to make me feel accepted into that part, because I didn't feel it back then. Maybe I was just too caught up in my own
world
my own world to feel it or see it. But I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because it does. It still happens today. Schools out there, but I didn't feel it as much as maybe I should have. And even if it did happen, I would just kind of laugh it off. I was just kind of like that laugh dude. I would laugh at basically everything. But
Yeah, I think that that's something that's hard in our generation too. Is like, but I mean, with the suburb schools, I feel like that's different than like the farm schools, especially being in
Mm-hmm.
Iowa. I feel like the farm schools are kind of like the ones that are they're very like out there, and they'll like be calling you names and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the people in the suburbs, they sort of get that like you don't need to be calling people names, but there's also like way they think
Yeah.
about, there's like things that they can do that they can still like they can get under your skin without it being like over the top. Does that kind of make
Yeah,
sense?
it's
I
more
feel like
passive.
yeah,
It's
you
more
know, so
passive with
it's
the
like
way it's done.
yeah, so it's like they'll say like something almost under their breath, and it's like it kind of like brings you down a peg, almost feeling like you're less than. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
I don't really enjoy that. And I think that, you know, that's something that I really enjoyed about like going to a public school was like I had a lot of diversity, and nobody really said things like that, because I mean if they did, then they'd be ridiculed, you know. So it
Mm-hmm.
was like that was like a tough thing, or that's like something that I would imagine would be tough, like going to a school that's predominantly white driven and everything like that. But
Yeah.
you know, that's something that definitely is tough. But talk about life before music for you. Do you feel like there was something that you did before music that you
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, were you into like painting, drawing, or anything like that, and then like it just kind of inspired music, or what?
It's kind of crazy you say that because, believe it or not, I wanted to be a doctor, bro.
Really?
I wanted to be a surgeon.
Really?
Because in fifth grade,
Mm-hmm.
I had surgery. I had a hernia in my stomach, right?
Word.
And I thought it was crazy how people were able to actually open you up and fix something inside of you, and you would still be able to go on,
Yeah.
even live a better life than you had before.
Yeah.
And that really fascinated me. And my parents, they were really education driven. They were more about the school, getting your work done,
Yep.
like not hanging out with friends, stuff like that. They were really strict during school. So like during that time, I feel as if I said I wanted to be a doctor, but I wasn't totally sure if that's what I wanted to do. And I went to school at Iowa
Yeah.
for a year, my freshman year, and I majored in medicine. Big mistake.
Man,
I mean, if you're about it, all
that's a
power
tough
to you.
thing. That's a
Keep
tough
going
thing.
if you're about it. But like, if it's not for you, change your mind before it's too late. 'Cause,
Absolutely.
yeah, it was hard. I was doing good at first, right?
Yeah.
I was doing really, really good, and I just got progressively, basically lazier.
Lazier.
I would just skip class because I didn't have to go. Didn't go to the lectures, and then I would still get my homework done. I would still go to the exam, do well on the exam, and I was just like, why do I even need to go to class? And then I kept going and going, and it just got worse and worse. And then I was just thinking, man, I don't know if I really want to do this, because I went to
Yeah.
class one day. I was like, you know, I'm gonna start going to class. Went to class, didn't know what the fuck they were talking about, and I was
It
like,
really be like that though.
yeah, I remember it was more of the stuff in the cell we were talking about, like mitochondria, the
Yeah.
cell division and stuff like that.
Yeah, that
And,
stuff is not my forte.
yeah, it's not my forte either. And I remember doing it in high school, so I still had some sense of where I was at, still had an idea. But when I got to the exam that time, questions were hard, bro. They were so hard. And I was yeah, I didn't do good on that one.
That
And
shit's the struggle.
I remember after that day, I roomed with Gavin Priest. I don't know if you know him. That's my dog. Shout out to Gavin Priest.
Shout out to
but-
Gavin. Bro. Shout out to him.
We went upstairs to hang out with Carter Bothwell and Tyler Spade, and they were roomies too. And we were just watching music videos on the TV.
Or
And I remember listening to Check by Young Thug.
yeah.
You seen that music
Yep,
video?
yep.
Yeah, that music video was so cool. Like, I think something in that sparked me to do music, because I
Yeah.
saw how he had all this money around him, and he was doing it with his homies. And I've always wanted to put my homies on, you know, make my homies
Yeah.
live the best life possible, or make the people I love live the best life possible if I could do that. And so I was just thinking, why not? And I thought it would just take off easy. I thought I would just put one song and then boom, blow up.
Yeah.
Like I thought it would be like that. And at first, I mean, it seemed pretty good. Like I got a lot of love from the people around me, from people from school and stuff. And then I got some hate from, people I used to fuck with, like stuff like that. And that was pretty hard.
Yeah.
I remember hearing, I'm not gonna say who it was, but I remember hearing someone say, she came to my room and she was just hanging out with my roommate, and she said, "Heard you want to be a rapper now?" And I was like, yeah, kind of, like just a little giggly, yeah, stuff like that. I don't know. I didn't know that she knew.
Yeah.
I didn't know that many people knew. And I was just like, yeah, I kind of want to do it. I think I could do it. And she said, "Just stop.
Wow.
You're not going to make any money. You're just wasting your time. Just don't do it." And I was like, all right, okay.
Well, so do you feel like you add that to, like, the fire of you wanting to make more music? Do you feel like? Yeah.
I was thinking about that every time I'm making a song.
Yeah. I think that that's huge, too, because, I mean, especially being in, like, the content creation world, I feel like you're always going to have, like, people that love what you do, and you're always going to have people that hate what you do. I think that just comes with everything. I think that regardless of what you do, half of the world could hate you and half the world is going to love you. But, regardless, like, of that, if you can take it and make the hateful comments into something that, it drives you more to just put out a new song. And like what you said, you think about it every time that you do a song. I think that that's huge, because that just makes you push even harder. And especially like having your friends around you that, they tell you if this ain't it, or if this is it, then I think that that's really good, because that's just like that. It's that backing, that core backing. And I think that that's what a lot of people need, especially being in like this business that we're in. I feel like it can be tough sometimes, and it can be lonesome almost, because there's a lot of people that, hate everything that you do and everything that you put out, but it's like, there's a lot of people that love you.
I love it.
Yeah. And I think that, something that I've noticed like in the past couple of years is like, I'll get 100 like really good comments about like what I'm doing, like you're doing awesome, all this stuff, and then there'll be one person that puts something out there in the universe and they're like, this fucking sucks or whatever, and I'm like, wow. And you focus on that one negative comment. That's so weird how that is.
It's really weird, man. I don't know why, but I that happens to me too. Like I'll see all this love, I'll see all this support, and then there's one person there just like, why are you doing this? This is trash. Stop. And I kind of take that. Like I don't necessarily hate that person. I kind of use the hate that I would have accumulated to put it into the next thing. I'm just thinking, how can I make that person switch from where they're at? And I think that drives me a lot.
That's awesome.
Especially those comments.
Yeah.
I actually look forward to those comments sometimes.
Oh, God,
because it just gives me motivation, you know what I'm saying?
What do you feel like in regards to your music, do you feel like you talk about certain things? Like, is there some, like, certain topics that you like to talk about? Or is there, what is, like, your creative process behind making music for you?
I mostly make my music driven on emotion.
Okay.
So if I make a song in this era, like this month, it'll be how I'm feeling this month. Or if I make a song, in the past, you can kind of tell where I was at in my head at around that time. I should do this more, but I don't write as often as I need to. And that's kind of a problem for me, because when I'm feeling this emotion, it's so heavy that I feel like I have to write. And then I'll go bust out a song in like 20 minutes. Yeah. And then it's just all about how I want to make it sound or something like that. Yeah. And I feel like I need to put out more content to show my supporters or who's following me how I'm feeling in that moment.
Yeah. I think that something that I've kind of talked about with a lot of people is like, the generation that we live in right now is this, it's this, I want this now, and then
Mm-hmm.
we'll forget about it later kind of thing. So I think that being in like the content creation world and like in the music industry for you, it's like you have to constantly be putting stuff out. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that, I think that you've been doing pretty good about like keeping your consistency up though. Like you've posted probably what, like 8 tracks in the past year ish.
In the last year, yeah, probably around 8.
Yeah, so that's damn near
Yeah.
like one a month almost, like,
Almost, yeah.
So I think that like that's huge, and I think that if you can push yourself to putting out like one track at least a month, that's
Yeah.
like that's what's gonna keep
That's what's
people
gonna keep
hooked,
it.
especially in
Exactly.
the music side of things, because it's like, you know, I understand that like the music, like making it's a lot tougher than a lot of
Mm-hmm.
other things, because you have to write it first, and then you have to record it, you have to get all
Mm-hmm.
the behind the scenes with all the mixes and mastering and all that stuff, and that can
Mm-hmm.
take some time. So I think
Yeah.
that like a month, it's like it's doable for it to be done, like to make a good song in that month, and then you can focus on the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like when you are sitting down and writing, like during those moments, do you feel like you focus on one piece and then you move on to the next one, or do you feel like you bang out like a bunch of pieces at that time and then like you have some stuff for later, or what do you feel like is your process with that?
I feel like it's kind of like I'll focus on one song at a time, and I try to get as far as I can with that
Yeah.
one song. And then when I get stuck, I just go to another song that I've been working on.
Word.
And then it's kind of like they all grow at
At the same
at
pace
the
and stuff.
same pace. But if there's one song that I'm just like, wow, I
This
know
is
that
the
this is
one.
gonna be dope, I just keep focusing on it. Like
Yeah.
I'll freestyle to it in the car. I'll go home
Mhm.
and then just be right on it. I'll stop doing everything just so I could be right on it. I'll
Yeah.
even write at work, trying to get that piece going.
That's awesome, bro.
But back with that
Mhm.
consistency thing. I feel like it's harder because with the mix and master,
Mhm.
that is what usually takes me
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
long, man.
Yeah.
Because I have this certain way I want it to sound in my head,
Uh-huh.
and it's just all about getting there.
Yeah.
Like, how can I do that? And major shout out to Christian Kamate, because when I was back in college, when I
Mhm.
first started making music,
Mhm.
I told him about it, and he would make beats, and he was showing me the beats and stuff, and I was like digging it, and I was like, bro, how do you know any way I could like record? And he told me I need a DAW, and I tried to figure out how I could get that music stuff on my computer,
Mhm.
and the one I had a MacBook,
Mhm.
and so I looked it up, and it was Logic Pro X.
Word.
I went to Apple Store, the App Store or whatever, and it was $200. And me being a college student, there's no way I
Yeah.
have $200 to just throw on that. So, I talked to him more, and he's a computer major. So he was like, "Bro, why don't you just torrent it?" I was like, "Bro, what is that?" And he showed me how I could get torrents of stuff.
Yeah.
Not only that, but like all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And I hope like the government's not watching me, because that's not.
Yeah.
It's not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I torrented it, and I got Logic Pro X, and he said you also need some other stuff. You need the plugins. So I started watching videos, major
Word.
videos, and I'll be on it every day instead of going to class. Go to class, it's good. I just skip class. I'll go to the library, and I'll watch probably 8 hours of videos a day, trying to figure
Word.
out how I can
Figure
make
it
it
out.
better. And I ran into this guy who talked about Waves plugins. I don't know if you're familiar with Waves plugins, but they're the plugins that most of the music industry uses, like the higher up in the music industry.
Word.
And I went to their website, and everything was like $8,000 or more. I was like, bro,
That
I was
is
like,
so
bro, there's no way
expensive, bro.
I'm gonna do this right now. And luckily, I was able to find a torrent, and I was able to get all the packages off of that. And I started just figuring out how to do it, and I would still watch probably 8 hours of videos a day,
Word.
figuring out how to mix and master myself.
Word.
And It really sucked.
Yeah.
At first, like, you're not good at it. You're never going to be good at it starting off, but I would just keep with it. I would keep with it every day. Had one of them, I don't know if you know, the blue, I think it's blue snowball.
Oh, yeah,
mics.
the snowball mic.
Yeah, those circular ones. Right, now being the rap, I would be rapping in the library at the top floor, just in this little secluded room, just like spitting bars, but
that's dope.
I'll go back and try to figure out how I could do it. And then over time, I just got progressively better and better. And I think I kind of do it because with engineering, I feel like I'm kind of that person that with my music, I'm a little impatient sometimes, and I should be more patient. But every time I've worked with like an engineer, it's not worked out for me, except a couple times it's worked out for me, but I just kind of want it now. And I feel like if I did it myself, I would have no one to blame but myself if it didn't sound what I wanted to. And they have their own schedule, I have my own schedule, so I can't just expect the most out of them for them to get it back to me as soon as possible. So just kind of figure it out myself, you know. And I still make every song I've put out since, I think, like these days last year, I've mixed and mastered myself. That's dope, and that's what takes the most time.
But I think that's important, though, that you've learned how to do everything from the mix and masters to writing and, you know, just doing it all on your own. I think that it gives you that much more of an appreciation for what you're doing, you know, so versus like somebody that, you know, like somebody could have somebody ghostwriting for them and they're just the one spitting the bars. It's like, you know, that's not as good, because then it's like you're not the one that's putting in all the time and effort. And then beyond that, with the mix and mastering stuff, like that's just like art in and of itself. So you know, and I shout out to all like the music engineers and everything else. Like, you guys are fucking wizards with that.
They're amazing, bro.
Yeah, and
really
I don't even know much about audio. Like, my mics are from freaking Amazon, and they just plug into my computer. I don't gotta worry about nothing else. And I just focus on GarageBand. So you know, I think that there's always ways, though, for people to kind of learn the ins and outs of really anything. It's just, you know, you're telling us about how, you know, you spent hours and hours on like trying to master it, and you're trying to learn just how to create music, you know, and like getting all the behind the scenes stuff of it. And I think that that's huge, because all of this information is accessible for everybody to have. It's just you got to know where to look, and you got to know what you're talking about, and you got to know what you're looking for. So I think that that's dope that like you've shared your story about that, though, because I think that, you know, there's a lot of people out there that are trying to get into music or whatever, and they just don't really know what they're doing, you know. So I think that it's good for people like you to kind of share out your story about that stuff, because that's huge. So you recorded your first song with you said your roommates and stuff, right?
My first song, I deleted it.
Word.
I put it.
So just tell about your experience about like your first song.
My first song. I remember it was a Low. You remember Low by Future and The Weeknd?
I think so, if I've heard it. Yeah,
I think it was Low. Was it Low? I don't know. Well, anyway, I did a cover of that song.
Word.
And me and my homie J-Law, we actually...
Shout out to J-Law one time.
Shout out J-Law, bro. We did it on a snowball mic.
Word.
In a car. Just in a car, bro. We didn't really know, like, how... we didn't know about how you need stuff around you. What are they called? Those acoustics around you to make it sound better. Make your voice sound full. And we didn't have a pop filter, none of that. We just kind of did it in the middle of the car. It was like 4 or 5 a.m. because we were just hanging out, and we were just like, bro, we should make that song in this car.
God.
Yeah.
Bro, but it's good that like you guys were experimenting with that, you know, because like otherwise you wouldn't have never learned. You wouldn't have learned like how how to do it right versus how to do it wrong. You know what I mean? So like I think that that's important that you guys did that. And I think that it's good for, because I bet that there's a lot of people that tried to get into the music and they've done probably along the same lines of that, because like shoot, if I was trying to record a song, I probably wouldn't know how to do it at all.
Yeah,
So
it's really hard. And also like shout out KP, bro, because like KP was in our squad. He was the first one that actually put it out there.
Word.
We had kept it like so within us that we would just rap to each other what we had, but we never put it out into the community or ever for everyone to listen to. And I'm really appreciative about that, because if it wasn't for him, I don't know, because I was really thinking about what other people would think, you know, especially because what I was rapping about.
Yeah.
And back then, like, I rapped about stuff that wasn't me. And I got a reality check when someone tweeted about it. He said that whatever you're saying, like, it's, I don't know. I still have the tweet in my phone somewhere. I don't look at it that much. I don't pay that much mind to it. But I ended up DMing him, talking to him about what he meant, and he was like, "Use your environment to talk what you write about, like, make it actually be real instead of putting on this facade." And I actually did take that. And it does make sense, because my first song, I kind of rapped about popping and shit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that wasn't really me back then. And I can't necessarily say that that's not me right now. And it just, you got to be, you know, who you are.
Yeah.
You got to, but also have a good message.
Yeah.
Every song I feel like I put out, I have a message behind it, whether you can't see it or not. There's something there.
Yeah.
And I know the people who support me and actually follow me and actually really pay attention know what I'm talking about. There are a lot of metaphors to stick with it, but to stick with today's sound, because music is always changing. It's always evolving, and I can't stick with one specific sound, because who knows, next week that might be washed out.
Yeah.
So I just keep changing and changing, but I also want to have a message with it. So
well, and I think that it's huge to really talk about your reality. Like, that's the biggest thing that I've learned, because I wrote like poetry in high school and everything, so that was like huge for me to do, is like actually talk about my reality, you know, and like make it into something that, you know, either others can relate to, or I can make them feel uncomfortable and just have to listen to me for a few minutes, you know. And I think that, like, you know, that's the beauty behind writing and just music and everything else. It's like, you know, talking about your reality is a huge message, that it can form somebody else's life into thinking a different way, because they haven't heard a story like that, you know. So I think that's huge. And I think that, you know, when you're writing music and you're actually talking about something that you've been through, or, you know, you're talking about your reality and your environment, like you said, you know, I think that that's huge, that you have to do that, because you can't, there's certain instances I feel like you could like play a character almost in like in a piece or whatever, but, you know, for the most part, I feel like it's good for you to kind of just talk about what you've been through and just make other people hear it. So, you know, I think that that's a huge thing that you can do. How long have you been in the music scene? So you said freshman year of college, right? Was like your first initial kind of start to it. Do you feel like you were touching into it like before that in high school or anything else?
Not really, actually. Not really. I was more focused on being that doctor that my parents wanted. And I'm really glad that they raised me the way they did, because my mom always tried to get me into extracurricular activities, whether it be basketball, sports. I actually even took band in 5th grade. I think I dropped it after that. I didn't want to do it. But I did piano, and I did guitar, but I really liked piano for a bit, man. Like, I started when I was 8, and I think I did it for 4 or 5 years. Yeah. So, like,
do you still kind of remember how to play it?
And stuff, I can still play some things. I would look up covers too and just learn how to play it. Yeah. And I really like that, but it also helped me now, because like with melodies are really, really important. Yeah. And stuff like that. I'm really glad that she did that.
That's important, because I think that do you feel like you wish you would have stayed in like band to kind of learn more about the music side of things too? No, you didn't want to do that.
Shout out band.
Yes, sir.
But no, that was not for me, bro. I was playing the trombone, and oh man, that was stressful.
Yeah, but I feel like the jazz-esque music, or like adding in like stuff like that, like the trombone or like the saxophone or whatever, like that stuff can almost be timeless music, you know?
Exactly.
So I feel like, it's good that you do you still remember how to play trombone and stuff a little bit? No, not really.
I don't.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like.
So I feel like it'd just be a good dynamic to add into your music, at least down the line, not like right at this very moment.
Down the line for sure.
Yeah.
It's just that thing, bro. Like, it's just so hard, especially when you gotta go really fast. You just be like,
yeah,
I'm just like, man.
What about the trumpet? That's the smaller one, right?
The trumpet's the one I wanted to play so bad,
but they didn't let you.
No, I feel like, no, it wasn't that they didn't let me. It's just I didn't speak up.
You're a little shy about it.
Yeah, I was really shy. It was like the band teacher was like, "Yo, you got long arms. I think you would really do good playing trombone." I
said, "Fuck that."
And I was like,
"I want to play the trumpet."
he was like, "Nah, you'd be a great trombone player." I was like, "Really? You think so?"
Like,
he had me a little me in 5th grade, and I ended up doing it. And I didn't like it, bro. I was pretty good, but I didn't like it. Didn't like it that much.
When I feel like the trumpet's like that one where like a lot of hip hop artists have like somebody that plays the trumpet that travel with them and stuff too. I think that's kind of dope that they do that.
The trumpet is really dope.
But,
instruments are dope, especially the ones you use for that, because you gotta like change your lifts and stuff, make it smaller and bigger to like.
Well, piano is like a huge universal one, you know. So I think that's good that you at least know how to play it. I wish, like, if I was into the music stuff, I would wish that piano would be like my number one thing that I wish I would have learned. But it's cool, and I'm doing other things.
Hey,
but
still learning, bro.
Yeah, I know it's never too late. But I don't know. That stuff's probably like learning another language at this point. 'Cause, shoot, it's just like finding all the keys and stuff, and then like reaching over here and over here. Oh man, that stuff's crazy. That stuff's crazy.
Your hands is pretty hard. So.
Yeah, that's tough. What do you feel like is your greatest accomplishment that you've done so far in your life? It can be related to music, it can not be related to music. What do you feel like that is for you?
I think that's a good question. I'd probably ponder that for
let it sit, man. Let it sit.
Greatest accomplishment. To me, it would definitely be with music.
Yeah.
It would definitely be with music, I think.
Do you feel like on the side of like just putting yourself out there for the world to hear your voice? Yeah.
And slowly being myself.
Yeah.
And like who I want to be versus who everybody else wants me to be.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a really good accomplishment.
Yeah.
I was going to say like my song reaching 10K on SoundCloud, but
that's dope though.
Yeah,
too,
that was
bro.
really something, man. Like I was so.
Which one was that?
I was so psyched about that. These days,
yeah.
It reached 10K first, but that's before it's on it. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god, that song. Yeah, that song dope, makes me so hype. I'm so happy. I can't believe I actually made that.
Yeah.
Like every time I listen to it, I'm just like, I really can't believe I made this.
That's awesome, bro. Do you like listen back to a lot of your songs?
I really do, actually.
Yeah. I didn't know if like you would like. I don't know, like when I put out stuff, I'm like, I don't really like to watch my stuff, but I think that it's good for people to do that because you can kind of take points from it and stuff.
Yeah, sometimes, but usually when I put out a song, like I've listened to it so much, it feels oversaturated in my head, so I won't listen to it for a good few weeks, maybe even a month, if that, unless like my homie plays it, then I kind of have to listen to it, like kind of have to like
I feel that
take up for it. But yeah, I don't really listen to it that much. Lately I've been listening to it back. Usually when I put on a new song, I listen to the first song, that new song, then I listen to the one after that, and after that, and then I just hear myself like how I've progressed throughout these years.
Well, and I think that progression is huge too, because you can kind of see what you did wrong, maybe on like the mixing mastering side of it, or if it was like you need more melody in it or whatever.
Exactly.
That's dope. And I think that learning from your old mistakes is the best way to learn in
Mm-hmm.
general versus like trying to study somebody else or whatever, you know. I think that that's huge.
You learn a lot from listening back.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like if something doesn't sound right, you're like, dang, I did something wrong in here.
Yeah.
But it's already out, so like
Yeah.
I can't change it. So I'm gonna do it on the next one, you know.
Yeah.
Or like if you found a cool effect, you would be like, yo, I could use this into something else, make it sound more ambient or more in your face type thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's huge.
I've been
That's
taking that a
huge.
lot.
That's dope, man. I really like well, we're gonna talk about you just released Frost My Neck, right? Just a little bit ago.
Yeah.
That was like your
Yeah.
latest song. What was like your creative process behind that? Do you feel like that thing bangs? I'd be playing that in the car too, bro. That thing bangs.
Thank you. I
cuz.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
My creative process with that one, I remember I was just like looking up beats, and I still get my beats off YouTube.
Yeah.
Cause, I feel like there's just so many.
Yeah.
It's just like so many to choose from. I could go to this type of artist kind of sound and just hear something that maybe something like they would make, and then take it for my own.
Why does that get such a bad rap for
I don't know.
YouTube beats?
I don't
because
know.
like somebody else made it? Is
Yeah, I
that
think
what it is?
because someone else made it, and a lot of the YouTube beats are very looped.
Okay.
They're very, very looped.
Okay.
Like,
I wasn't too sure about what that was exactly.
yeah, you're not really gonna find a good YouTube beat.
Okay.
Searching like right there and then.
Gotcha.
I mean, it may sound good, but then over a while it kind of gets boring. Well, that's
Yeah.
just my
Yeah.
perspective of it. But still, those guys are great. Like they're working hard, and if you find the right one, it'll work for you.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I searched 4 hours
Yeah.
to find that beat.
I bet.
I just heard it and I was like, wow, I think I could make something out of this. And then
Yeah.
like I would just be in my car on the way to work every day. I would freestyle it to it and stuff like that. And then I found that that little jingle that I was just like, dang, that kind of goes like that little bitch. Yeah,
That
like,
shit was hard, bro.
I was like, dang, that kind of goes. And then I went home, I recorded it, came back, went to the car again on the way to work because I'd be working a lot, so every day on the way to work I just use my time to like maybe brainstorm type or something. And
Well, then it's like nobody else is riding with you. You know, you're just sitting there.
it's just
thinking
me.
to
Like
yourself.
I could be as loud as I want. I
Oh,
could turn it up
God.
as loud as I want. It doesn't even matter. And yeah, I just kept going with it, and I'm really glad that I made that, you know. I feel like it was stepping into a different type of sound, like
Yeah.
evolving my sound. And I think it got inspiration from other artists as well.
Yeah.
I just started making it right after I came back from Rolling Loud.
Bruh.
And I saw artists that I've been listening to since high school. So it was really dope atmosphere. I loved how when they got on stage, they would make the whole entire crowd super hype. And I wanted to make something like that. I wanted to make something that would make everybody hype, but also at the same time, people could just like dance to, like hit the wall, you know, like something like that.
Yeah, that shit. Oh man, that stuff gives me chills, man. I remember. I went to Travis Scott the day that I graduated. That was like crazy insane. And then it's like thinking about his progression too. About like I think I saw him at Seven Flags, and now he's like selling out huge arenas.
Huge.
So like, wow, it's just crazy like how music does that for people, you know. And I think that, you know, do you feel like you want to get into like the performing side of things eventually?
I really do.
Yeah.
I really, really do.
Yeah.
Like, I've, believe it or not, never performed yet.
Really?
Never performed yet.
Really?
I feel like that would be a crazy experience. And I know I would go all out for it.
Yeah.
I know I would go all out for it. But at the same time, I feel like I still want more of a catalog. So when I do perform, I could make the crowd go into the kind of like the type of emotion that I want them to go into.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a different variety of tracks, but I want to make more hype tracks. I want to make more pensive tracks or stuff where with more thought that would make people think,
Feel it.
Yeah, feel it or think about it and always come back to it. Cause I feel like what was I gonna say? I feel like music, when you listen to it, it's supposed to more say take you into another place, like into a different world, and that's what I try to go for every time.
Yeah.
If it doesn't take me into a different world, why would it take anybody else?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I look at it.
I feel that. I feel like that's really something that's beautiful about music is like, you know, you can listen to something like super hype,
Yeah.
and then like you get into like this crazy like trying to punch through the wall kind of attitude and everything, and then like, you know, you switch it up to something like slow and it's like your vibe just changes. And I think that's really dope. Do you feel like what's like the number of songs you feel like you want to get like under your catalog that you feel like would be comfortable for you to be performing and everything? Have you kind of thought about that?
I haven't really thought about that.
Yeah.
That's a really, really good question.
Yeah.
Maybe a few more. A few more.
Because I feel like
sure.
you have like a decent amount.
Yeah, a decent
so,
amount.
you know, I think that it's just a matter of time. Do you feel like you want to push yourself to try to get your first performance in this year? Or do you
Yeah,
feel
for
like,
sure. It's going to be this year.
Yeah.
It's got to be this year.
Absolutely.
Like, no cap, bro. It's
Yes,
got to
sir.
be this year.
Yes, sir. That's dope, bro. That's dope.
And, like, it's crazy how you said that punch through a wall thing and then the slow thing. Because, like, after I made Death Before Dishonor, I made this song called Love Too Hard, Hard to Love, which is about a girl that I don't want to necessarily say I fell in love with her, but I was getting there. And I made that song. And it's kind of like all this, like, fighting, like, I'd fuck somebody up type shit into the soft type of me. And, like, the vibe completely changes.
Yeah.
Like, I want someone to be, like, in a mosh pit and then want to hug the
Waving
person next to them that
waving
they
a
just
lighter
push down
next
to the
to
ground.
yeah. That shit's hype, bro. That's
Yeah, bro.
crazy. Yeah, but I think that's really good to have this different dynamic of music, especially in the same artist. I think that's something that a lot of people can't really do, because I feel like a lot of the mumble rappers like Lil Yachty and like Young Thug, in a sense, like they don't really have like this like soft side to them. They always want to put out like this crazy shit, you know. And I think that's dope, but it's like, you know, there's only so much you can do with that, you
There's
know.
only so much.
But like if you can switch a crowd's mood like that when the beat comes on, that's insane. And that's
really
something that
insane.
I look for in music, at least. And I feel like a lot of people have kind of switched up their minds with that, because I feel like, you know, when we were going through high school, I feel like all I wanted to listen to is like some crazy like headbanging shit. Like I was like trying to go to the club and fuck it up type shit. But you know, now it's like, you know, I hear other music and I'm like, whoa, like this is dope, this is smooth, you know, and like I want to hear more of that, you know. So I think that having that different dynamic is huge for being an artist in general. And I think that's good that you kind of realize that and you're willing to put in like different types of sounds and everything to your music. So that's dope, bro. That's dope.
It's still like an experimental process, but you know, after a while you master it.
Yeah.
You'll get there. Like I still haven't mastered any of the sounds I put out.
Yeah.
But I'm still working on them.
That's huge, bro. That's dope. Getting into some of the closing questions here for you. Who or what is the inspiration to do what you do? Like we kind of talked about like your art, like there's certain artists and stuff that like inspire some of your songs, but like do you feel like there's always an inspiration to do what you do, just in life or in music in general?
My mom for sure. My mom for sure, bro.
Shout out to all the moms out there.
Like, oh man, bro. My mom works so hard, and my pops too. Like, I owe them so much, and my fam.
Yeah.
I just want to make them live the best life possible, because they've done so much for me. The only thing I could do is give back to them.
Yeah.
And I'm also inspired by, I think X really inspired me, man. He really inspired me.
I
Like,
could feel that in your last song too. Like I could feel that.
yeah, he
almost.
really did, bro. Like, what he was doing for his community, like, I want to be able to do that one day for everybody. Like, I still try my level best, you know, when I have the time and when I have the money, the extra money to do it. But I want to be able to reach millions of people, because, like, I know what it's like to feel alone, to be alone, and it's not the best feeling.
Yeah.
Or the feeling of being so sad that you just don't even want to do anything.
Yeah.
You don't want to get up out of bed. You don't want to even as gross as it sounds, take a shower. Like, it's just
Yeah.
simple things like that, but you just don't have the energy to do it.
Yeah.
And I want to help the people who are like that or still feel that type of way to, you know, move forward
Yeah.
if they can.
Absolutely.
And it's really hard. It's really,
Yeah,
really hard.
That is a tough
It's not
thing.
easy, man.
Yeah, because I think that, something that's beautiful about music is it can comfort you in a lot of ways, or it can almost like intensify the sadness or the emotions that are going through you at the moment. And, I think that X was like a huge person for a lot of people that were struggling with things. Like, I see it all the time, like, especially when he died, it was like, that was like, I saw so many people saying like, thank you for like getting me through like my toughest times and like all this stuff, and I think that, there's only so many people that can do something like that with music. And I think that, it's awesome that you're trying to do that with your music and stuff too. And, having that be your inspiration, I think that that's a good move, especially. But,
Yeah. Also with that, like, I have a friend who, when I was in high school, he passed away due to a self-inflicted cause, and I just don't want anybody else to ever have to feel that way that he did.
Yeah, that's
And
a
like,
tough thing.
it still hurts me to this day, bro. Like, I think about it a lot.
Yeah. Well, and then I think that things like that are sometimes it's tough to get through things like that because, I don't know. I had a buddy of mine in high school that did the same, and it teaches you a valuable life lesson, and it's like, you should always reach out to people, like, regardless of if you know them or not, or if they're old friends of yours. You should always check in with people because you never know what they're going through. Because, like, there's a lot of people that, you see them on a day-to-day basis or whatever, and they, like, are always smiling and laughing and everything. And then It's like, one day that just changes for them, and it's like, they decide that they don't want it anymore, and then, things happen. But, I think that that's something that I learned in high school and just in life in general, is that, one, life is way too short, and that also, I should just check up with people, like, just saying hi, and just, like, one thing that you can say to somebody can literally change their entire life forever. So I think that, that's a valuable lesson to learn through that, and, and to never forget about the person that taught you that, that valuable lesson, because without that, your life could be different as well. So, it's like learning to get past those, like, big hiccups in the road. I think that it's a tough thing, but, that's what we have to do as humans and everything else. But
I completely agree with that.
it's real life. It's real life stuff. Nelson, tell me about some of the future plans that you have. We kind of talked about you want to get into performing and stuff. Is there anything else that you got for future plans, future albums, or anything that you want to shout out to the people or anything?
I want a Ferrari next year.
Ooh, Ferrari. What color, red?
No, bro, like, dead serious. Dead serious. I want to have a Ferrari.
Bro, put it out there.
And I feel like, with the law of attraction, if I keep putting that energy, keep saying that I want it, I'm going to slowly make it.
Manifest that
Yeah,
shit.
I'm going to manifest it. I'm going to do what it takes to get there. And if I just say that, I feel like it'll also give me other things, like influence and stuff like that. Because, like, there's no way I can get a Ferrari doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Like, something's got to change. And I feel like there's a lot of things that are going to change in the next year. I'm really confident, way different than last year. Stop, caring too much about what people think of me, but I still want to have guidance towards the youth, because they're still going to be our tomorrow's leaders.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that that's good that you have your goals kind of set in line for you, and it's like, you're trying to manifest it, and I think that that's something that a lot of people should do, is like, if you want this, just say it, put it out in the universe, and then one day it's going to come true.
Exactly.
So, that's what, it shows you that, you can say it, and then you can believe it, and then you can just do it. Just go at it.
And you have to believe in yourself.
Absolutely.
You have to believe in yourself.
That is the
Because if you
key.
don't, then no one's going to believe in you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, Nelson, what is one thing that you have to do in life? When it's all said and done, you're laying on your deathbed, what is one thing that you have to do in life?
Make sure that my family's okay. Make sure that my squad's okay for sure.
Yeah.
And that if I do have kids, or when I do have kids, that they're going to be okay too.
Yeah.
And, like, give them the confidence to do anything that they want to do.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't have to do what people think of you. You can just, if you want to do something else, just go be your own person. It's your life, you know? Like, you don't have to be fit into this box that everyone sees you as. You can branch out of that and become something more and make yourself happy. I just want that for the people I love and, like, my supporters and anybody that follows me to do what they believe in.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful because, that shows that you really care not only about yourself, but about the people around you as well. That's beautiful, man. All right, this is the last question that I have for you. I ask it to everybody on the podcast.
Yeah.
I want you to imagine that I have a copy of the New York Times written right here, okay? It's written from 10 years from now. There's an article written about you, and there's a cover page of you. What is in this article, and what is the cover page a picture of?
Wow.
It's a loaded question. Let it sit in, let it marinate.
A good question. That's a good question, man. New York Times article about me. Dang.
Let it sit, bro. Let it sit. Let it sit. We got time.
Dang, bro.
It's a loaded question, man. Because it makes you think about life and just everything that you want, 10 years from now.
Next 10 years.
It's a tough thing.
Wow. I want to say number 1 album for a long time.
Billboard top 200 or whatever.
For a long time. Been in the Billboard forever, and it's still, like, top 10 type thing.
Bruh, that's
or, like,
fire.
have the influence. It's either that or start a big charity that starts taking off and everybody's with it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, either those two things would just make me so happy in the next 10 years.
That's awesome, bro.
Because I know with that, I would have an influence that I wanted, because I want an influence to reach millions of people right now, if not billions, bro. Like, I know that's probably not possible, but if not billions of people to, like, believe in themselves.
Absolutely.
And make everybody happy. Because
Absolutely.
I feel like if there's more love in the world, there'll be a lot less hate.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of hate in the world.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like it's so much easier to just love instead of hate, I feel like I have to go out of my way to hate somebody versus, like, I can just say love you and that's it. Like, and then it's like it's so much easier to love, and, like, hate just brings out bad parts to you. So
It really does. It really does.
That's
It's
a
not
huge thing.
the person who you truly are. I feel like it's an emotion that you kind of let go out of yourself, but it's not really who you want to portray yourself as, or it may have happened from a pre-existing circumstance that makes you feel that way.
Yeah.
And I can't blame anyone for going through something that makes them objective or negative towards something else, but if they could turn it into something positive, that would just be a lot better. It would help them in the long run.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Nelson, where can everybody find you on social media, SoundCloud, all that stuff? If you want to shout out anything, now's the time to do that.
All right. My Twitter is N3LS __. I just changed this like a week ago because I was tired of having the other thing. And then I think my Instagram is, jeez, I'd have to look that up.
It's all good, bro. Take your time.
I'm sorry.
Do your thing, bro. Do your thing.
I don't really be on Instagram that much. I need to start doing it.
Word.
Because, like, yeah, I really need to.
Get on
all
that
right,
thing.
It's NELS __N. I put the underscore to take out that O, in case you're wondering.
I feel that.
And then Snapchat, it's Mr. African. Fortunately, I cannot change my Snapchat name.
Yeah.
Bro, I would pay them I'll pay them to change my Snapchat name.
Bro, I think that's your name on Snapchat for me too. It's
Mr.
like
African,
Nelson,
bro.
Mr.
Like,
African
bro,
or some shit.
I was in 7th grade, bro.
Yeah,
Just like,
it'd be like that sometimes. Oh man, I'm
Bro.
glad that I did like. I think mine's like Nico 44 or something like that. It's just
I would
simple.
have something like that.
Yeah.
That is way better than Mr.
Yeah.
African, bro. I was just goofy.
I wish I could change it to like my ad name now though,
Yeah.
but Snapchat's a weird
I was just
thing,
goofy,
bro.
man.
Yeah.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah.
That honestly sucks.
Snapchat, you need to get on your game, bro.
Yeah, you
like
guys
for real,
really
you
do,
guys need to get
please.
off that.
Because,
but-
like, if I switch accounts, I'll lose everybody,
Everybody.
bro.
Yeah.
There's so many people I don't want to.
yeah,
Man, that's-
it really be like that.
yeah,
It really be
it'd
like,
be like
that.
that.
Shit.
Really be like that.
Yeah, Nelson, appreciate you, brother, for
Hey,
coming
for
through
sure.
today.
For sure.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Truth Podcast. We talked about a lot of things today. We talked about just life and how precious it is, and just about Nelson's progression as a music artist and everything else, and just how he's came to be. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys took some good pointers away from it.
Humans are so
Nelson, is there
smart,
anything
they
that you
can't
want to say to the people before we get out?
Shout out
But
to
you can live pretty well by yourself.
Yes, sir.
Check this out, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Check
sir.
this out.
Yes, sir.
You
All
too.
right, everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in to